Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Thursday, June 19th, 2025 by Gaia Blooming. I'm Mimi and our energy mantra for today is my mental energy is my responsibility. And today we have an overall quiet day transit-wise, but the astros are still busy. We still have yods going on, and one particular connection in these yods is being highlighted, and it's an interesting energy that we're working through. That being said, I do want to mention we're at the tail end of Gemini. Holy cow. We will have the sun move out of Gemini and into Cancer late tomorrow, late Friday. So here it comes. Here comes Cancer. But as Sun in Gemini finishes up, the mental energy is going to ramp up. So be aware of that and take responsibility for the ramping. All right. So today's astro energy, the focus is Saturn and Mars in an inconjunction. So this is part of the yods. A yod is made up by two inconjunctions and a sextile. It's also called a quincunx, but that's a really weird word to say, so I prefer to call it an inconjunct, and it just makes a lot more sense in my head, letter spelling wise. So an inconjunct is interesting because it's not really an opposition. It's kind of this weird connection, and what I will say a lot of times about an inconjunction is they don't really know how to see eye to eye. The energies can be a little bit like, wait, how am I supposed to work with you? How am I supposed to dance with you? Love the image in my head. The image in my head for this is like, think of like your first dance where like the girls put their hands like this way across the guy's shoulders and like you step awkwardly like this. I don't know if dances are still like that, but back in the day, that's what first dances were like before, the internet was teaching everybody to dance. So that's this energy. They're like, do we have a volleyball between us? If you went to Catholic school, you should understand that. So, yeah. Mars and Saturn. Saturn in Aries, Mars in Virgo. Such an interesting combination. Because there's little tendrils of connection that I see in and through this. Virgo is interesting because Virgo can be a rule follower. And Mars, I would say Mars is not so much a rule follower, but in the sign of Virgo, Mars is like, well, what are my orders? I'll hop to it kind of energy. Saturn can be a purveyor of rules. And yet, in the sign of Aries, Saturn's like, you do you, boo. Like, you gotta be you. That's actually the work of Saturn and Aries, is peeling through the layers and the rules so that you can find yourself. So there's these little tendrils of that are working together. But that's kind of what we're fighting our way through, is where we find ourselves following rules because of the conditioning, because we've been conditioned, because we've been taught to follow whatever rules we follow. But at the same time as we're following these rules, we are not honoring ourselves. We're forgetting who we are. So in this energy, we may find ourselves feeling a little wonky, feeling a little weird as we try to figure out what rules we're meant to follow and how to be true to ourselves, how not to erase any more of who we are, and how to rehabilitate that energy. Aries is so interesting because, like I always mention, this is the first sign, come down from the heavens, come down from or into the earth realm, from wherever it is that we go in the in-between, right? And so we have a lot of that energy still imbued. And the world a lot of times will do everything to make us forget that. But all these energies in Aries are like, remember. And I feel like specifically, Neptune and Mars are going to reach their inconjunct tomorrow. And I feel like Neptune even more so is going to be like, remember, like who you are is important, remember. So these are really potent. That's going to be the work right now. And let me be fair and say this is work ongoing. Like, you're not going to get the full download of yourself. We have been doing this already with Chiron in Aries the last several years, Saturn moving into Aries kicks this up a notch. But today we're facing off with the rule follower. Meanwhile, like I said, Mars in Virgo can be the rule follower, but it can also be the path that we can find ourselves on, healing, bringing us back to one unto ourselves instead of one unto the rules, one unto somebody else's values and morals, one unto all the things that are put in place that are meant to keep us safe. But maybe they're not really keeping us safe. Maybe they're just keeping other things safe. Gonna leave that there. That is the focus today. And when we only have one main thing popping up, that means like there's definitely some focus that is meant to be here in that. Now, that being said, we do have the moon moving swiftly through Aries. The moon takes about 2.5 days to move through a sign, and coming up against Ceres in Aries. And so Ceres represents mother energy, which is probably going to be helpful. A lot of the healing that is showing up in the astro involves reparenting ourselves without the rules and wounds and conditioning that our parents may have put upon us, you know, based on their own lives and their own conditioning and everything. So there's definitely a call to mother, and as you show up for yourself, you may find hidden pieces of yourself bubbling up to the surface. The moon is really good at revealing those hidden pieces. So really interesting astro energies. Card-wise for today. Oh yeah, see the projections. We're casting off the projections. So I'm doing a detox right now and releasing a lot of biofilm. I almost feel like that's what I thought of when I came to this. But the projections card, like releasing these layers that have trapped things within our auric field that no longer serve. We're releasing those projections and finding ourselves beyond that veil. So that's really beautiful. And what is this process? It's actually a layer of maturity. And I love this because it's the Ace of Pentacles, and it feels like it's grounding, peeling off, moving through these layers of ourselves. Part of the work is going to be the ordinariness energy, which I also love, which is a reminder to be grateful for all the beauty and the wild reminders of nature around us. Nature does not follow man's rules. Nature follows nature's rules. And we are nature. Just saying. Now, I also have this card, the schizophrenia card, which means you may feel challenged in this. And that makes sense with the yods and with this inconjunct and so many layers. And that's okay. It's okay to face off with that. But it's a reminder to sink into your heart and let that help guide you. Now, my cat chaos cards are also perfect. Challenge your beliefs. Imagine. Challenge your beliefs. But I love that this is, you know, from that, I guess it's a floor, floor art from, that honors the song Imagine. Flourish. The lotus flower fairy tells you to learn from experience. Shed your inner light on any unclear areas of your life or those of others. So, this lotus fairy will help you, love this. So on point. On your own terms. What are your own terms? I think a lot of us have forgotten that because we've been playing society's game. But what are your terms? And finally, this is a very interesting looking card. It's the Strength card. The Strength card to me is about heart. And we got a little hummingbird there holding some energy of heart. But honestly, what comes to mind is this is the universe with us. We got a little spanking going on right now. I think we're all feeling slightly spanked by the universe. So, but the strength is like, come on, let this fire up. Your inner fires, your inner primal to help you know how to show up in these energies. So, Gonna leave that there on that interesting card. You can book a reading with me. Email me, Mimi Clark. MimiClark@gmail.com. And we can go from there. Besides that, the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power. And may your guiding light be strong, and know that you can trust your process. Namaste.